Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. I welcome you today's class. The topic is Ashtanga Yoga. Ashta means 8. Yoga. What is the yoga? Yujjate anena iti yogaha. That which unites the Jivatma and Paramatma is called yoga. So according to Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, Patanjali gives the topic called Ashtanga Yoga in the second chapter, Sutra number 29. So what are these 8 limbs? Ashtanga Yoga is also called 8 limbs of yoga. So what are these 8 limbs? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. These 8 limbs together called Ashtanga Yoga. Let us see one by one. What is Yama? Yama means universal commandments. How one has to live in the society is explained by Patanjali Maharshi under the heading Yama, universal commandments. Then second limb, Niyama. Niyama means personal disciplines. How one has to live for one's own self. Personal disciplines. The third limb called Asana. Asana means posture. Fourth limb, Pranayama. Pranayama means the breath awareness, or we can also say gaining the mastery over the breath. Then number 4, Pratyahara. Pratyahara means the withdrawal of the senses from the sense objects. That is called Pratyahara. Then number 5, Dharana. Dharana means concentration. Number 7, Dhyana. Dhyana means a meditation. Number 8, Samadhi. Samadhi means the absorption. So these are the 8 limbs given by the Patanjali Maharshi in his Yoga Sutras. Now let us see one by one, a little more explanation. The first one, Yama. We have seen Yama means universal commandments. So under this heading, Patanjali Maharshi gives the 5 points, or you can say 5 code of conducts. What are those? Number 1, Ahimsa. Ahimsa means not hurting others. So this Ahimsa need to be followed. Through our actions, we should not hurt others. Through our speech, we should not hurt others. In our mind, through our thoughts, we should not think the harmful thoughts for others. So by mind, by speech, by action, we should not hurt others. That is called Ahimsa. Following this Ahimsa helps for the student of a yoga or a person who is in the path of the spiritual life. So following Ahimsa is one of the most important virtue. Ahimso paramo dharmaha. Sanskritam says the following this ahimsa, not hurting others, is one of the most important virtue for a seeker of yoga as well as those who are interested in the spiritual life. Then second one, Satya. Satya means speaking truth. So always try to speak the truth. Try to avoid the lies. Otherwise, if you speak the lies, all the time you have to remember what you told to this person, what you told to that person. But if you speak the truth, you need not bother. The truth is the truth. So only the truth you are speaking. So you need not bother that what I told this person, what I told that person. So always speaking truth is a very ideal. This is one of the commandments given by the Patanjali Maharshi. Number 3, Asteya. Asteya means non-stealing. We should not steal the things which are belonging to others. Because when you steal the things belonging to others, it is harming the others. It is hurting others. So we should not steal the things which are belonging to others. Then aparigraha. Aparigraha, not to be greedy. Nature is providing everything according to your necessity, according to your need. So one should not be greedy. Then the last one, Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means having the control over the sense organs. Brahmane charane iti brahmachari. The literal meaning of the brahmachari is, or brahmacharya means, one who contemplates all the time on the Brahman is called brahmachari or brahmacharya. Most of the time you see a translation in the books, brahmacharya means not to having the sexual contact. But why it is given? Why not to have the sexual contact? Because the more you are enjoying in this sense pleasure, the more your mind will be drawn towards the more and more enjoyment. So it's why it is said not to entertain too much. But the literal meaning of the brahmacharya is Brahmane charane iti brahmachari. One who contemplates all the time on the Brahman is called brahmachari. So these 5 comes under the Yama. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya. These 5 limbs falls under the universal commandments Yama. Then from the Ashtanga Yoga, the second limb, Niyama. Niyama means the personal disciplines. How one should live for one's own self in the path of yoga, in the path of a spiritual life. Number 1, Shaucha. Number 1, Shaucha. Shaucha means cleanliness. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So we need to maintain the cleanliness externally as well as internally. The most importance is given for the cleanliness in the niyamas. The second one, Santosha. Santosha means contentment. Try to be happy what you are having. Of course, it does not mean that you should not put the efforts. You put the efforts, you strive to get something, but after putting the efforts, what you get, be happy. Then next time you can put the more efforts to get more. But try to accept the result when it comes first. So when you accept the result, so your mind is available for you. to think, to analyze, to put more efforts, to find out where you went wrong or where it went wrong, so that we can rectify. Next time we can do it better. So always first accept the things what comes to you, then you analyze. It is a santosha, contentment. Then third one is a tapas. Tapas means putting the efforts to reach our goal. Putting the efforts in a proper way to accomplish our goal is called tapas. Literal translation you can see tapas means penance. But what purpose you are doing the penance? To reach something in your life, we do the penance. So tapas means to reach my goal, to accomplish my goal, whatever the efforts I am putting in a proper way, that is called tapas. Then comes swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means a self-study. Here, self-study does not mean that I will take a book, I will read just by myself, that is a self-study. No. Swadhyaya means study which helps you to know about your own self. That is called swadhyaya. Even the japa, meditation, everything can be the part of the swadhyaya. So reading the scriptural books to finding out who am I, reading the any textbook or any books which helps me to find out who am I. That is comes under swadhyaya. Then last one, Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana means surrendering to the Almighty, surrendering to the Ishvara. Whatever we do, offer to the Ishvara, and whatever the result we get, accept the result as a gift of the Ishvara. So all the time bring the Ishvara. Ishvara means the Lord. Bring the Ishvara in our day-to-day life. In every transaction, in every moment, recognize the Ishvara, appreciate the Ishvara, offer whatever you are doing to the Ishvara. Try to become the instrument in the hands of Ishvara. We'll be so happy. When you recognize the Ishvara, Ishvara takes care of ourselves. Ishvara takes care of us. So that is a Ishvara Pranidhana, surrendering to the Ishvara, surrendering to the Lord, called Ishvara Pranidhana. So these are the 5 points comes under the Niyamas personal disciplines. Saucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. Then the third limb of Ashtanga Yoga is about the asana. Patanjali gives a definition, Sthira Sukham Asanam. That which is a firm and comfort is called asana. In the final position of the asana, it should be firm, you should be firm, and you should be comfort. Then only it is called asana. So my dear friends, in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Patanjali is not discussing about any number of asanas. He just gives what is the concept of the asana, what is the definition of the asana. Asana means sthira and sukha. It should be firm and it should be comfort. It is not that how many asanas you are able to do is not necessary according to the Patanjali. So according to Patanjali, how long you are able to maintain the asana? While maintaining the asana, how you are. Are you firm? Are you comfort? Then it is called asana. Then comes the next limb, that is the fourth limb of the Ashtanga Yoga, pranayama. Prana means the vital energy, the vital force. Ayama means awareness. Pranayama means the awareness about our vital energy, awareness about our vital force. What is the vital force? The prana. So how can I energize my prana? How can I expand my prana? How can I feel my prana? So we do the breathing here. The breathing is the most important technique in the pranayama. So in the pranayama, the basic things are inhalation, holding the breath, exhalation. When you hold, when you are inhaling, how much time you are taking, then how long you are able to hold the breath, then how slowly you are exhaling. So under the pranayama, there are different types of pranayama. But here Patanjali gives the definition of the pranayama. Tasmin sati shwasa prashwasa yor gati vichchedaha pranayama. After establishing yourself in the asana, when you are trying to change the direction of the life force, this breath, changing the direction means you can able to gain the mastery over the breath. It should be slow and slow. It should not be so fast. Observe the turtle. Its breathing rate is very slow. I heard it takes only one breath per 1 minute. That's why it lives around 300 years. Look at the dog. The dog's breathing is very fast. That's why the average life of the dog may be 18 to 20 years. So depending upon your breathing rate, the lifespan will be decided. So slow down your breath. At the same time, it should be in a rhythmic, slow, rhythmic and deep. So this is about the pranayama. Then Patanjali talks about the pratyahara. In the pratyahara, if you look at prati plus ahara is equal to pratyahara. Don't worry about the too much Sanskrit, but I am using the Sanskrit to make it understand better. Ahara means the food. Generally, what we think food means, whatever we are eating through our mouth, that is called food. That is true. But not only that. Through eyes, I am able to see. So whatever I am seeing, the objects, they are food for my eyes. Whatever I can hear, the sound, that is a food for my ears. Whatever I can smell, the smell is a food for my nose. Whatever I feel, the touch, that is a food for my skin. So through the 5 senses, whatever you are perceiving or whatever you are grasping, that is a food for that particular sense organ. So in the pratyahara, we have to withdraw our senses from the sense objects and divert them towards inside, towards the Atma. This is called pratyahara. Withdrawing the senses from the sense objects and divert towards the Atma inside. That is called pratyahara. Example, the turtle. So when this turtle, the tortoise, whenever there is any situation comes, any scary situation comes, immediately it withdraws all the limbs and head under the shell. Like that, we should be able to withdraw the senses from the sense objects and divert towards the Atma inside. That is called pratyahara. Then comes the dharana. What is the dharana? Deshabandha chittasya dharana. Dharana means focusing on one single point continuously is called dharana. In other way, concentration. Putting the efforts to concentrate on one point is called dharana. It can be internally, it can be externally. Choose any one point, any one object, and try to concentrate on that particular object. If you can able to focus on one object for a certain time, then it is called dharana. So in general, in English, we translate as a concentration. So continuously trying to concentrate on one object, at least for few seconds, maybe at least for 20 seconds or 30 seconds, we need to be able to concentrate. Or more than that is the best. Then comes the dhyana. Dhyana means meditation. What is a meditation? Meditation means concentrating on a single object for a long time is called meditation. Concentrating on one single object whatever the object you have chosen for your dharana, on that object, maybe internally, maybe externally, able to concentrate without having any distractions in our mind, at least for 2 minutes, without having any distraction in the mind, only focusing on the object, then it called meditation. It is called dhyanam. Then next comes the last limb, samadhi. Samadhi, we say absorption. What is the absorption here? In the dharana and in the dhyana, if you observe, there are three things are there. What are those three things? A subject, a meditator, object on the which object I have chosen for the meditation, then the perceiving, the perception, and the subject, my object on which I am doing the meditation, and this process of meditation, the perceiving. For example, if I am putting a Om in front of me, I am looking at the Om continuously. So I am the meditator, the Om is the object, continuously I am focusing. This is a focusing, is the third one. So this three should become one. Then it is called samadhi. It is called absorption, where there is no meditator, no object of meditation. There is no meditation. All three becomes one. This particular stage is called samadhi. So all these 8 are very elaborately explained by the Patanjali from Sutra number 30 of second chapter till the third sutra of the third chapter. Patanjali explains very elaborately, very beautifully. So I recommend all of you study the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. You will get so much knowledge, so much information, so much knowledge. The more you assimilate that information, the more it will become the knowledge for you. So I wish you all the best for your further studies. Om Tat Sat.